Hello, I'm Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Literary Love 123, where I combine my master's in English with my passion for the horror genre to talk about the books that I read. So today's video is a tag video. It is the Christmas and holiday music tag. And after this quick intro, I'll be right back and we'll jump right into the tag. The Christmas and holiday music tag is an original tag that was created by Daniela at Uncommon Reader and by Reney at Beyond Books. This tag was created in honor of Reney's first Booktube anniversary. So, congratulations. I was tagged by Pat at Book Chat with Pat, and I was also tagged by Stuart at Stuart Griffin. So I want to say thank you to both of them for tagging me. This tag is based on songs, carols, and hymns that celebrate the Christmas and winter holiday season. However, if you do not celebrate Christmas or any holiday, activities during this time of year, you can still participate. And you also do not have to be familiar with the music in the tag. So it is an inclusive tag. And I am feeling under the weather today, so I did not gather up my books. I will, however, put up images of the books I talk about so that you can get a visual of what I am discussing. And I also have not really looked at the prompts or thought about what I was going to answer. So this is going to be off the cuff for me. So let's start with the first prompt. And I do need to say that there are 8 prompts and then an optional bonus prompt. So, prompt number 1, Joy to the World, a book that brings you so much joy, you wish the whole world would read it. Okay, I am going to say, that's hard to pick. A book that brings me so much joy, especially because I get joy and comfort out of horror books, but I'm trying to think of a book that brings me so much joy. I wish the whole world would read it. That's harder than I thought. A book that brings me so much joy. Maybe I shouldn't have done this off the cuff, especially when I'm already feeling under the weather and my brain is not hitting on all cylinders. Okay, let me think. Oh gosh. You know what? Joy to the World, a book that brings you so much joy, you wish the whole world would read it. I'm gonna have to come back to that one. I really am. Okay, and number 2, Let It Snow, a book that takes place in a snowy, cold environment. So I want to talk about a book that I have not read yet and that I'm excited to read in January as part of my Polar Gothic series that I'm going to be doing on my channel. And that book is The Terror by Dan Simmons. Number 3, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, a book with a mean character or one that you just didn't like. I am going to go with Joe St. George in Stephen King's Dolores Claiborne. He is abusive in many ways to his wife and then also to his daughter and even to his sons. And I really detested Joe. But prompt number 4, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, a book releasing soon. You can't wait to read. I think this is the same book that Pat chose for this prompt too. And I think it just came out. Like I may be getting my pre-order today or tomorrow, and that is Private Rights by Julia Armfield. She's the same author who wrote Our Wives Under the Sea, which is a book that I really enjoyed. So stunningly written, so beautiful. And I'm excited to read Private Rights. Very excited. Number 5, 12 Days of Christmas, a book of short stories. This is a book I talk about all the time, perfect for this time of year, and that is Gothic Blue Book 6, A Krampus Carol, which features frightening stories of winter folkloric creatures and other creepy aspects of winter. Most of the stories do center around Krampus, but there are some that are about other things. And it is one of those rare story collections or anthologies where I actually enjoyed every story. So you'll hear me recommend that book any chance I get. Number 6, The Little Drummer Boy, a book that brings back childhood memories. My mother used to read this book to me and my sister every Christmas Eve, and it's called The Littlest Snowman. Now, she would also read A Visit from St. Nicholas, or 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, as a lot of people know it. But The Littlest Snowman is not a book that I see or hear people talk about, and I love it so much. So if you got a chance to read it, then I highly recommend it. And not to get too sad, but my mother was diagnosed a year or so ago with Parkinson's, and it's really progressing quickly for her, or regressing, however you might want to say that, and it's affecting her physically and mentally too. And so, and I'm looking at The Littlest Snowman brings back all those precious memories that I'm so thankful that I got to have with my mother before, she's reaching this point, or has reached this point in her life. Okay. Ooh. Okay, prompt number 7, Deck the Halls, a book that has a party scene or takes place during a holiday. I have to go with I'm sorry. A book I just read, Christmas at Willdale Inn. There's not exactly a party in there, but there is sort of a festive Christmas Eve dinner. And it takes place around Christmas. And it is by Gemma Moore, who is one of my favorite authors. And I really loved that book. Even though it's a contemporary book, it's set in Victorian times, and it has a lot of those Victorian vibes that you would get around Christmas, and like ghost stories and stuff. Um, Prompt number 8, Frosty the Snowman, a book with a character who is cold or calculating. And this has been one of my favorite literary characters of the past year. And that book is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. And the cold and calculating main character of that book is Dorothy Daniels, who is a food critic with a passion for food, sex, and cannibalism. Optional bonus prompt. Do you have a fun memory or interesting holiday tradition that you would like to share? It does not have to be about Christmas. It can be about any holiday you choose. Share the cheer, tag others. Have a very happy holiday season. So the holiday tradition that I want to talk about, it started with my parents and my sister and I. When we were growing up, I mean, from like the time I can remember that far back up until I was still living at home when I was in undergrad. And every Christmas Eve, we would have a candlelight Christmas Eve dinner. And after dinner, we would go into the living room and open one gift each on Christmas Eve night while we watched It's a Wonderful Life. And I have carried that tradition on with my family. So now that I have kids ranging in age from 16 all the way up to 32. I only have one still living at home. My daughter, you've probably seen her on here before, who will probably be with us for the rest of her life, or our lives, as case may be. But all of my other 3 children have grown up and moved on their own, but they all come in, and we still carry on that Christmas Eve candlelight dinner although we're having to bump it to Christmas night this year. So, a couple of my, so one of my daughters and her fiance can make it because they're both having to work Christmas Eve night. But for the ones who are at my house on Christmas Eve, we're still going to do the candlelight dinner then. And then we're just going to turn around and do another one on Christmas night. Now I need to go back and do prompt number 1 because I did remember a book that brings me joy that I want the whole world to read it. And that is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Now, most people are familiar with all the various film adaptations, and a lot of those are wonderful. My 2 favorites, no, I actually kind of have 3 favorites. I like the one with Alistair C. Scott playing Scrooge. I love the one with George C. Scott. Wait, Alistair Sims. I messed up. I combined 2. Hold up. Redo. I'm not even going to edit this. You're just going to see me in all my delusional glory. Alistair Sims, the old, like a black and white version where Alistair Sims plays Ebenezer Scrooge. And I love the version where George C. Scott plays Ebenezer Scrooge because I'll watch George C. Scott in almost anything. And then my very favorite adaptation is The Muppets Christmas Carol. But if you haven't read Dickens' book, then please read it. It's short. Dickens can be very hard to read, but A Christmas Carol is not. It's humorous. It's just filled with love and joy. And look at me getting emotional again. And I always cry at the end of the book A Christmas Carol, because there's one passage, and I'm just paraphrasing here, but it always hits me so hard in talking about how Scrooge, of course, you hear this clip in the movie too, the way that he learns to have Christmas and gratitude and thankfulness in his heart and generosity, and how he keeps Christmas better than anyone else who's ever known. But there's also this idea that he doesn't berate himself repeatedly for the past mistakes that he's made and the cruelty and the harshness he exhibited. He lets that part of himself go. He obviously acknowledges it, right? But then he's not going to waste the remaining years of his life dwelling on guilt and regret. Instead, he's going to embrace the time that he has and spread all the love and compassion and joy that he can. And that just really resonates deeply with me. So thank you for watching this off the cuff holiday Christmas music tag. I am trying to think of who might like to do this that hasn't already been tagged, because I feel like a lot of people have been tagged. But I would like to tag Nicole at Nicole's Bookish Nook. I would like to tag Ashley at Spooky Little Book Nerd. And I would like to tag ED Lewis at ED Lewis Reviews. And no pressure to do this tag. And if you've already been tagged, wonderful. That just means more than one person thought of you, right? So I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate it if you would hit like, subscribe, so we can keep talking about books and you can keep watching me get emotional if that's your thing. See you next time. Bye.